Are you tired of swiping through what feels like a million profiles, just wondering who actually has long-term potential? Well, this explainer is going to give you a real, structured method to find a life partner, not just another date.
I mean, that's the big question, isn't it? It's the ultimate gamble of modern dating. You see a decent profile, some good pictures, but are you actually looking at your future partner? Or are you looking at a total minefield of red flags? That's exactly the challenge we're going to tackle today.
And that's where this idea of marriage screening comes in. I want you to think of it as a practical tool, almost like an analytical system. It's a way to look at a profile to check for stability and potential risks before you get all emotionally invested. So here's our game plan. First, we're going to look at dating through a completely new lens. Then we'll dive into the green flag checklist. After that, we'll sort out the difference between yellow and red flags, which is huge. And finally, we'll talk about how to turn all those clues into real clarity.
Okay, let's start with the positives, the green flag checklist. These are the signs you're looking at a solid foundation, the bedrock for a healthy long-term relationship. These are the things you should be actively searching for. Now, we're not just looking for one single trait here. We're looking for patterns across all these key areas. Are they making stable choices, like prioritizing exercise over heavy drinking? Do they show they care about others? Maybe they mention volunteering or helping family. Do they talk about wanting a family over, say, constant partying? And what do they want in a partner? Qualities like kindness and loyalty, or just looks? And of course, is there any sign of stability in their work life? It's really the combination of these things that starts to paint a picture of a reliable person. Check this out. This is a perfect example taken from a real profile. The question was about handling public disrespect. And this guy's answer? It revealed so much. He didn't just react with pure emotion. Nope. He laid out a clear process. He acknowledges the anger, he controls it, and then he communicates. And this is why that answer is so powerful. You see what's happening there? It's not about ego, it's not about threats, it's about self-regulation and communication. That is a massive green flag because it signals a mature way of handling conflict, which, let's be honest, is a total non-negotiable for any real partnership. All right, so now that we know what to look for, let's flip the script and talk about what to look out for. This next part is all about telling the difference between a yellow flag, which is something that just needs a follow-up question, and a red flag, which is a hard stop, a deal breaker.
And honestly, the distinction is pretty simple. A yellow flag just means verify. It's a potential issue, but you need more information. For instance, having 0 serious relationships by age 35, that's a yellow flag. Could be for good reasons, could be for bad ones. You need to find out. A red flag, though, that means reject. It's a clear signal of risk, like a controlling or vengeful mindset. That's your cue to just walk away. Okay, let's break down a case study of a profile that absolutely failed this screening. Notice how these red flags all connect to each other. He straight up calls himself super possessive. His gut reaction to conflict is retaliation. Do the same thing. And his list for a partner puts physical shape before character. See? This isn't just a random collection of issues. It's a very clear pattern that points to a controlling mindset. So let's run through some of those common yellow flags you're probably going to see out there. Stuff like crazy high social media use, really vague answers, or that dreaded, it's complicated relationship status. Now, these aren't automatic deal breakers, but they absolutely require a closer look. And here's a classic yellow flag. This 24-year-old was asked about a potential conflict scenario, and his answer was just, I don't know. Now, it's not a red flag like aggression would be, but what it does signal is a readiness gap. It means he just hasn't even thought about how to handle basic conflict in a relationship yet. He's untested, and that is a really crucial piece of information. Okay, so you've spotted a yellow flag. Now what? You can't just leave it hanging there, right? This is where we turn those confusing clues into clear signals, either green or red. And the answer is simple. You have to ask the right follow-up questions. That's what this final section is all about. And I've got a simple 3-step process you can use every single time. It's easy. First, you isolate that yellow flag. Second, you ask a direct, scenario-based question about it. And third, you just listen and assess their response. Are you hearing signals of teamwork, or are you hearing signals of control? For example, let's say a profile says they want a submissive partner. Whoa, okay, major yellow flag, right? Here's what you ask. What does submissive actually mean to you in daily life?
And if your wife says no to you, how do you respond? This question cuts right to the chase of whether they're looking for a partner or, a subordinate. Or how about this one? You see a profile with over 5 hours of social media use every day. Don't just jump to conclusions. You ask them, hey, what are you doing for those 5 hours? Is that for work? Or are you learning something? Or is it just mindless scrolling? The context here is everything. And what about that zero relationships thing? You can gently ask, can you tell me a little more about why that is? And what have you learned from your dating experiences so far? You're just looking for some self-awareness. Are they single because they have high standards and focus? Or is it maybe a sign of immaturity? And for that infamous, it's complicated status, you have to cut through that ambiguity with a really direct yes or no question. A serious relationship needs someone who's fully available, period. This question will tell you if they actually are. You see the whole point of these questions, right? It's to get past their curated profile, past their pre-written script, and see the real person underneath. How do they truly see partnership? Green flag answers will always come back to teamwork and respect. Red flag answers will pretty much always show a mindset of control and blame. So as we wrap this up, just remember that this whole screening method is about being way more intentional in your search. It's about asking better questions, not just of them, but of yourself too. So I'll leave you with this. What's the one question you're not asking that could finally give you the clarity you're looking for?